OOPZILLA. Alright, let's work this guy out. They want us to find the center, the vertices, and sketch this guy. First thing I want to do is take this constant 31 and move him across the equal sign. So let's do that. That'll become a negative 31 on this side. Now I'm going to group all the x's together. So I'm going to have 9x squared. Then here's another x minus 36x. Okay, keep those guys together. And then I'm going to have the y's grouped together. And there's a plus an 8y right there. So now I have the x's grouped together and the y's grouped together in descending powers of like here's a 2 and there's a 1, 2, and a 1. Okay? Now what I want to do is pull out a 9, and that'll leave me inside with an x squared minus 4x. Okay? And then I'm going to leave some space in here too. Okay? And that's my x. Now I'm going to pull out a 4 here, alright, and that's going to leave inside a y squared plus 2y, and I'm going to leave some space for that one too, and put my negative 31 on the outside. Now I want to complete the square because look, this is a gap, this is missing, this is not, it can't be a square until I complete it. So I'm going to take this number 4 divided by 2, that'll give me a 2, and square it, that will make a 4. Okay, we've done that before with completing the square problems. Now I'm going to take this guy and divide it by 2. That'll give me a 1, square it, and I'll get a 1. Now, since I added these guys in, I must add on this side. But don't forget, I'm adding in a little bit different way. I'm not just adding the 4 or just adding the 1 over here. I have this multiple 9 on the outside. So 9 times 4 is 36. And then 4 times 1 is another 4 that needs to be added. Now that makes it balanced to be complete. And that's going to give me a 9 over here. Okay, when I add those guys together. Now I'm going to have 9. And then this guy is already a completed square. So I write down the x. I take that sign right there, put it down. And I take the square root of this guy, which is 2. Then I square the whole thing. Okay, just that easy stuff. It's so simple. Then you take the 4, write it down. Then I take the y, the plus sign. Then the square root of that guy is 1. Then I square it. And that right there is what I was looking for. Now what I want to do is divide everything by 9. Because I have this 9 over here, I need to divide everything by 9. So 9, 9, and 9. That's going to give me a 1 over here. So this guy is going to become x minus 2 squared over 1, because that's going to go to a 1. This right here is a little trick. I'm going to write down y plus 1 squared. Now this 4 over 9, I can't have that there. I need to get rid of it. I need a 1 here. So I'm going to flip this whole thing and put it on the bottom. Okay, that's totally legit. And set it equal to 1. So this is what we were looking for right here. Now this is in the form that's good for an ellipse. Now what I'm going to do is erase all this other eye candy stuff because this is way too sweet. And I don't want your eyes hurt by looking at all this. Although it tastes good to me, it's probably too sweet for you. Okay, so now let's move this up. I'm going to have x minus 2 squared, 1 plus y plus, was that a 1? Yes, a 1 squared, all over 9 and the 4. Okay, like that. Now, the question is, which one of these guys is the biggest? Well, 9 over 4 is definitely bigger than 1. Check it out with your calculator. So, before I get started with that, let's find out what the center is. Well, I'm going to be dealing with h and k again. Now the question is, what will cause this inside to go to 0? A 2 will. So let's put a 2 in. What will cause this inside to go to 0 right here? A negative 1. Okay, so that's my center. I found it. Just that easy. Couldn't have seen it the other way when I first started, but now you can see it. Okay, with that said, which one of these guys is the biggest? We already discussed it. It's the 9 over 4. Take the square root of that. I'm going to get a plus or minus 3 over 2. Okay, I'm happy with that. And this guy right here is going to be the square root of 1. It's going to give me a plus or minus 1. So that's going to be my covertice right there. Now I'm almost ready to start with this guy. So let's go ahead and just draw the center out first. Okay, so we're going to have 2. That's somewhere 1. That's somewhere 2. Okay, I'll mark it. And this is somewhere -1. So it's going to be basically right there. That's the center. And if you can put some more ticks on there, you can. Now the question is, how do I start making my lines for this, or the vertices and stuff? My goodness. Well, first of all, you see that you're changing. The biggest is going to be on the y-axis, so this is where your vertex is going to start. So what I'm going to do is hold x constant. So I'm going to hold my h or x constant, where this right here is xh and this right here is yk, if you want to. Okay, it's up to you. Now I'm holding this constant. I'm going to let the y portion fluctuate a little bit more. Okay, and I might need to move this out of the way since it's going to be fluctuating. Okay, and that's for this spot. Now I'm going to write down k, because that's the one I'm going to let fluctuate. And how far is it going to fluctuate? Plus and minus 3/2. Okay, so what is h? Well, h is 2. Oh, you can't see that. My ticker's in the way. Okay, let's do it this way. H is 2, k is a -1, and plus or minus 3/2. This is the answer for the vertice. If you want to stop right there and say, well, that's the vertice, but they want you to draw it out too. So I'm going to say this -1 and 3/2 is some number. As a matter of fact, I don't even, yes, I do have my calculator. Let me just put it in my calculator. I put it on my, oh, you know what? I put it on my graph. Well, this is 1.5. That's an easier way for me to remember it. Okay, so this is 1.5. So I'm going to have -1 plus 1.5. That's 0.5. So it's going to go up. If this is 1 right here, it's going to go up. Get my little tick out the way. To 0.5 right there. And then -1 minus 1.5 is going to go down to 2.5 to the negative. So that's going to be 1, 2.5 is right here. So there's the same equidistance. Okay, that's very good. Now I found the stretch in the y direction. I need to find out what's going to be happening in that x direction. So this is the vertex right here, okay? And so I'm not going to write it out for you. Well, I'm not going to write it out. This is the vertex right here. You can use that. That's a legit answer. Now, let's see here. Okay, so now I'm going to hold, let's see, this guy, I didn't mean to erase that. I'm going to hold the y portion constant this time and fluctuate on the x. Okay, so I can find out what's going on in the x direction like that. Okay, so now let's do it. So it's going to be h plus or minus 1 with the y held constant. If this is x and this is y, I'm going to hold this k constant. Okay, so now what is h? Well, h is 2 plus or minus 1, and then we're going to have our constant -1 held here for the k or the y value. So I'm going to hold this constant right there. That's held constant at -1. It's going to fluctuate in this direction for the x. So it's going to be 2 plus 1. That's going to go over to a 3. That's next door. Then 2 minus 1 is going to be a negative, actual 1. So that's going to be next door on that side. So now we have it. We're going to have our ellipse, a little teeny ellipse that's right here, and you can really do this great with your graph paper. And that is the answer. I already told you the vertices, so you should have written that down. And this is the sketch, and the center is this guy right here. Okay? OOPZILLA.